What's going on, everybody? We are back doing some live fly tying for all of you. It's been too long, but what we have going on right now is we are getting into a Euro nymph style of fly tying. So we're just going to jump right into this. Just a quick announcement: we are now part of the pro staff team for Anonymous Fly Tying Company, and we are really excited about that. We're going to be showing and using a lot of their styles of scissors. If you haven't heard of them or you haven't seen some of their products, go to their website and check them out. Very, very good quality products at an extremely affordable price, which is key for a lot of us guys out here. We're trying to use the best tools and the best quality possible, but we don't want to break the bank to do it. So especially nowadays, with the way everything's been going with inflation and gas prices, right? So you get on their website, check out their products, and see if that's something that you guys want to start using in your fly tying. So today we're going to start tying up a really simple pheasant style fly, and it's got some of the traditional components of what is the standard today for Euro fly tying nymphs or Euro nymphs. We have the tail, which is made out of a coq de león feather, and you can choose what other feather works best for you, or what you have laying around, or the colorations that work good in your waters. So for the tail, it is just a few strands of this coq de león, a little bead of epoxy resin. It is just some quick UV cure, and we've added a little bit of a pigment tint to that, and we're just applying it with just our bodkin here. So the rib is just a silver wire, silver bead, tungsten, of course. We're not adding any additional weight behind this bead, and then we put together a blend of dubbing just in front of the body. And if you want that recipe, there it is right there. We just used a black, blue, green, and a peacock color. We blended it together in a little coffee maker or a coffee bean grinder. And if you don't want to make your own dubbing, you can just go ahead and buy a peacock blend from whatever company it is that you prefer to use. So let's just get into this right now. I'm going to pop this bead out of the vise. We're going to just toss that over to the side. I'm going to throw a hook with a bead already on it back in the vise for you. Just using a simple brown thread. Thread color is not important here. You can use black. You can use whatever you want. If you wanted to use white and color it up to make it blend in, you can use a marker, a Sharpie. We like to use alcohol markers, things like that. So that's a good tip. If you don't have the right color thread, no problem. So let's just go ahead and get started. Throw our thread right onto our hook. We're going to take that all the way back to where we're going to tie the tail in. And we do not have barbs on these hooks here. We're going to go ahead and just snip that off. Just cut it off with our scissors. And then we're going to bring our thread forward just a little bit so we can tie in our tail. Coq de león. I'm just going to grab maybe 4 or 5 strands of that. And we're going to make the tails the length of the body, not all the way up to the bead, but from behind the bead to about where we're going to tie in, and that's going to be our measurement. So transfer that over to my other hand to get my measurement. Do a simple pinch wrap to make sure it's on the top. Check our length, see if we're okay with that. And tie it in. So to keep everything really nice and neat, we like to go ahead and tie our wire in now. You're not going to walk it just all the way back just yet. So we're doing this to keep a consistent taper in our fly, because if we added the wire to the back, then we would have to fill that gap in with something, since we're not using our wire or our lead wrap in this fly behind the bead. So we're going to go ahead and just tie that wire in. I'm going to adjust my hook here. And then right here we're going to take a little bit of that epoxy resin. And you don't want a lot, especially if it's a smaller fly pattern that you're tying. We didn't specify hook size here because everybody's going to be tying different. I believe this one is a size 14. You can tie them 14s, 16s, 18s. This is a very common fly pattern. It is just a pheasant tail style nymph with a little bit of flare. Just going to add a little bit of that epoxy on the top, and take a little bit more. We're going to add a little bit on each side. And if you get too much like that, you can just take a little bit off before you cure it up. So I'm just going to grab a needle and take some of that off of there. Like so. Might have took a little too much off, so I'll add a little bit here. I like a little bit of a bump right at the back of this fly. And then we're going to go ahead and take our torch and we're going to cure that up. Doesn't take much. Okay, then we're going to bring our thread in the front, grab our pheasant tail, just need a few fibers of pheasant tail, maybe 3, and we're going to tie these in at the tips. So I'm going to put the tips of their pheasant tail right at the back of their fly here, and then bring our thread forward. And this is where we're going to secure our bead. So I'll just build up a little base to get that bead stop rolling around on us. And then we're going to go ahead and start wrapping our pheasant tail. It does help to have a rotary vise here. So I can just hold my material with one hand and spin with the other. Then we're just going to pinch that off right behind the bead. And then grab our silver wire, and we're going to go the opposite direction that we just rolled our pheasant tail on, to counter rib that material to give it some protection against the fish's teeth. So because of that, I have to now reverse my thread the opposite direction that I was going, and then I'll take my wire and I'll wrap my wire around my thread to reorient my thread back to the way it's going to be tied in. You can just helicopter off the wire. Set that piece of wire off to the side for your next fly if you have enough wire. We're going to grab our blend of peacock dubbing. If you did want to use a wax to keep things nice and tight and neat and build a little bit of strength, you can add a little wax to your fly line here, or your thread. Just grab a very, very small amount. You can always add more if you need it. And we're just going to make a small noodle right onto that thread. Go ahead and wrap that right at the base of the bead. I'm going to leave a little bit of a gap to put in my soft hackle. So I just grabbed a little small piece of the soft hackle that we're going to be using. We're using brown here. You can use, again, black. You can use a speckled. You can use whatever you would like. And this is just off a basic hen cape. So clearly, the smaller the fly, the smaller of the feather you're going to want to keep your proportions to this fly. So you'll use a feather that's closer to the base of the neck versus the midsection right there. Okay, so we're going to take our hackle pliers and just grab the very tip of that feather. We've missed doing these fly tying videos for everybody, so if you're just joining us, please subscribe and follow along if this is something that's going to be helpful for you. We're just doing these videos for fun, and that's pretty much it. So we just tied the tip of that feather in. I'm going to use my hackle pliers again, grab the end of the feather just to help with control, and I'm going to try to orient my feather so the concave of that feather is facing backwards and the shiny side of the feather is in the front. I'm going to give it a few wraps, and I'm not pulling very hard, and if you want to help those fibers lay back, you can stroke them back, and you only want one full turn, possibly 1.5. So we're just going to stop right there. We're going to grab our scissors. We're going to come in real close. These are tungsten carbide coated on these scissors, and these are the 3.5 general purpose titanium coated scissors. So they have a nice fine point. We're going to go in and just grab that stem, trim it out just like that. I'm going to pull all of those hackles back, give it a couple wraps. We're going to come in and grab our whip finish. I'm going to wrap it around that bead, 3 or 4 turns. You could do it twice if you want. Since I'm using a brown hackle, I have a brown thread, and everything is really nice, and blended to the front of that fly. And then we're going to take a little bit of a cement and apply it directly to that thread. We're going to wrap that thread into the fly like so. And all that's doing is applying some cement to that thread, and that way you're not getting it on your feathers. Trim it off, and that is a finished fly. So it's going to ride inverted like that in the water. And we hope that you enjoyed this fly tying tutorial. Go ahead, like I said, and follow us and subscribe if you'd like to see more of these types of videos. We're going to be doing them a little bit more regularly. We have quite a few nymph patterns that we want to bring out and show everybody, so we're looking forward to it. Stay tuned and follow along. Looking forward to seeing you all in the next fly tying video. Yeah.